Oh, hi guys, so we've got two lenses here today, the Samyang 135 f2 for the Sony E-mount, and I have also the Sigma 135 f1.8 art series lens. I've had this lens for a year or so now, and it's lovely, but I decided now it's time to go back into autofocus with the portraiture with the art series 135 lens. I haven't bought the 105 f1.4 Sigma, mainly because I've already got a 105 and I didn't see the point of having two in the range the same, hence why I'm now selling the Samyang. And to be honest, there's not a lot in it. There's a bit more compression in this 135 lens over the 105, and the bokeh looks very similar, which is obviously what you're buying a fast lens for generally, especially for portraiture. Very sharp, in fact slightly too sharp in some respects. You do have to be extremely careful with the apertures though, because you can have one eye in and one eye out, or the tip of your nose out of focus, so you have to be a little bit aware of that, so moving back to get a little bit more in focus but still giving you a brilliant blurred background. Exactly the same for the Samyang. Build quality for both lenses actually is quite good. The Sigma being around about 900 to £1,000 more expensive than the Samyang, maybe slightly under that, maybe probably I think more than 900 mark, depending where you are in the world. Really nicely made, and I do like the big focus ring. Not to use it that often, but it is quite nice, especially if you're doing video. Big cowl on it. I haven't bothered with a UV filter because that cowl stays on and it's not going to get whacked or hopefully scratched. But then it's insured, so that's what you pay for. You have got autofocus, manual focus there. You've got full 1.5 meter to infinity, and then you've got 0.875 of a meter to 1.5 meter limiters, so that helps, especially if you're doing something a little bit closer. Usual focus depth focus measuring there, and it's very quick autofocus. I found very accurate, very snappy. You can tell it's not quite as refined as maybe a more expensive lens. There's another 135 out there really, for the Sony side of things anyway, but you can feel the focusing working inside. There is no stabilization on either lenses, but you've got obviously on the A7R3, A7 III, A9, A7R2, A7 II and A7S, you've all got stabilization built in anyway, and even obviously the A6500 as well. It's really happy with it. It's £300 to £400 cheaper than the 105 f1.4 that's been released, but it's slightly smaller as well, so it actually fits in my bag quite well, so I'm pleased about that. But I've seen side-by-side images of an 85, 105 and 135, and I still like the 135. And at the end of the day, it's all down to personal preference of what you physically like in your photography, so that's my view anyway. Can't say any lens is better than any other. It's down to the user, especially at those levels anyway. So size-wise, actually, they're pretty much identical heights, and that's with the cowl, the lens hoods on. The Sigma is actually slightly shorter without the head on, but it's obviously considerably bigger. The only downside of the Samyang I could find, build quality is really nice, is this hood. It rattles, so I put a small piece of tape on it, and it calmed it down. So it's been so hot the tape's actually fallen off because it's come unstuck, but it's not the end of the world. But when you're using it, you don't really notice. It's just when if you rattle it around or whatever, it's obviously a little bit annoying. Focus ring's nice and smooth, but quite firm, so you actually have to you have to actually physically turn it. And you have an aperture ring where you don't have on the Sigma. So this is the lens I've used to teach people, to get them used to the idea of utilising your apertures properly, where a lot of photographers out there think they've got a fast lens, f1.4, f1.8, f2, it's got to be at f2 all the time. And unfortunately, yes, it does look great, with the depth of field really shallow in the background, yes it does, but if you don't use it properly, You know, you can have one eye in focus really sharp and the other eye completely out of focus. You know, you're tipping your nose or whatever, and that's not a good shot in my view. You know, especially if you're looking pretty much straight onto someone and this eye is completely soft and this eye is sharp. You know, that's not right. You should be, you know, stop the lens down to f2.8 at least. You know, that would help. But you're still going to get a really lovely bird background. So, you know, it's just a case of utilising your apertures properly. And I keep seeing it so often. It's generally wedding photographers seem to mess it up a little bit, but you know, whatever. Can't say I haven't. I have in the past, but if you're open-minded and you learn from others and learn from your own mistakes, you know, you're going to get better and better. So that's just something to take into consideration. This lens has no stabilisation either, no electronic contacts whatsoever, so it's literally straight into the camera, so the camera does not know it has a lens on it. So you have to set the camera itself in manual steady shot, so you can set it to anywhere from, like, I think 8mm up to about up to 1,000, I think. So you can actually set that lens and it will actually give you stabilisation, which is the Sony side of things brilliant. So it really helps, even though generally your shutter speeds on portrait lenses, because you're quite wide open quite most of the time, you know, shutter speeds are generally quite high anyway, so you shouldn't get any shake or anything, but it's there. Like I say, this was around about 300 quid, and the Sigma itself is between 1,200 and 1,300 depending on where you buy it from, so there is quite a big difference in price. I have taken obviously plenty of shots today, unfortunately no portraits, but there will be a portrait shoot. I've got plenty of shots from this lens over the last year which I'm going to utilise as a demonstration, and then I'll get out with the Sigma 135 and actually do a photo shoot with that. But so far really happy with both. This lens is going, I sold it to a friend, so he's quite happy about it. It's going to teach him a lot, hopefully. It definitely slows shoots down. So with the Sigma, any autofocus lens, you're on focus, you're tracking something, blah blah blah. You know, if you're doing a modelling shoot, you know, you push the back button and you've got eye focus. It's on the person's eyes. It's so easy to do. This is down to you, and the difference between it being down to you is it slows you down, because you've got to get those eyes perfect. So pushing C1, which is my A7R3's focus magnification button, push it once, doubles, and you push it a couple more times, it keeps going in, and it really helps you get the eyes nice and sharp. And what it does do, well, this is focusing in less than half a second. I'm maybe taking 2 seconds, and you think that doesn't sound a long time, but actually it's enough to relax a model. It's enough to make them bring a little bit more emotion into the photo shoot. So actually sometimes I'd probably use this in manual focus just to slow the shot down. Depends on what you're doing. Anyway, if you're doing an action shoot or something with a bit of movement in the background anyway, you're going to need it in autofocus, you know, just to help you get the shot. But you know, if you're, you know, somewhere where the mood is a little bit more calm and you know, a bit more romantic or something like that, there's not going to be high speed stuff. So actually what you want is a slower paced shoot, so you know, it can make that difference, and it gives the models a little bit of time to think. So when they're thinking about, they could be thinking about dinner, I don't know, but it could be, you know, you're trying to get the happiness or the sadness or the moodiness out of their face, and the personality coming through. That's where I think this lens, you know, has helped me sort of learn how to get that out of the model. So that's definitely an upside for this. Optically, this thing's brilliant. This is so sharp. Yet to see exactly how good it is compared to this, but I think they're going to be very, very close. And it's just down to the electronics and obviously the size and costs and things like that, where the difference in price is, and obviously the autofocus. Yeah, so really happy with both. This one's going. This one's the new family member. Like, so this is going to a friend. He wanted it, so he's now going to be learning how to use this. But like I say, it's one fantastic lens anyway. And if you actually look at my I'll put a link in actually, my Snowdonia Wales photo shoot with Jessica, we took this and I had this lens only, which I used all the time, and the shots we were getting were unbelievable, really, really cool. But as you can see, she wasn't running around or anything like that, so we had the time and the moments where we could actually spend a little bit more time to get that shot perfect. So but really, really good lens, really, really good lens, and this thing's just an absolute beast. So we shall carry on playing with this, This one's going to go back in the bag now, and it's going to be cleaned and then put back in its box and everything, and sent off and to its new home. So just take some detail shots. So I've got the Sigma f1.8 135 art lens here on the A7R3. It's quite windy now. So what I thought I'd take was a few sort of detailed shots. So one of this bark here, because the bark's quite sort of textured, which is quite cool. And then we'll take some pictures of grasses and things like that, and there's a few flowers and things, wildflowers down there, some leaves maybe, and I'll do some similar shots with the Samyang as well, just to see what the difference is between, well, basically £1,000 difference in value, or thereabouts. Obviously the main difference is autofocus, but we shall see. So I'm going to shoot wide open on all these lenses just to see what the difference is. So I'm at f1.8 now, and so with the shot here, I actually took the focus point straight off the bark, literally to the right of the image there, which gave us plenty of bokeh in the distance there. You can see, nice and round. And there's a second shot here, which is actually just the edge of the tree there, so you can see how shallow the depth of field is, to the right and obviously to the left. That's affected the bokeh a little bit, but then the light was changing quite a bit, so that may have something to do with it. And this shot here is from the Samyang. Again, colours slightly different, which is no real drama, because obviously in RAW you can tweak them. But as you can see there, relatively shallow depth of field, not quite as much as the Sigma, but very sharp still there. This shot here, so moving target, windy, quite sort of around about 20 miles an hour I'd say. As you can see here, nice and sharp, and see autofocus picking up straight up on the plant there. Samyang, still managed to get it, but probably took me 3 or 4 seconds to get the focus perfect. That's the main difference, but still lovely and sharp. As you can see, the colours are slightly different, but then again, that may be the light changing due to the clouds and stuff in the sky. This one here, I couldn't get it sharp. It was moving around so much, but it was moving sort of in a circular motion rather than backwards and forwards or anything like that. So with a little bit of perseverance, I managed to get a good one. There we go. As you can see, lovely sharp. Bokeh's very shallow. So both of these lenses are incredible. They are very, very good quality, and the image sharpness in detail you're getting out of these lenses are really, really good. So with the Sigma again here, obviously speed and a little bit of slightly faster lens, obviously giving you slightly faster shutter speeds, allowed me to get this shot here, especially with that bug involved. And then I actually didn't see the little bug until after I'd actually taken this shot. But a shot of f2, the bokeh's not quite as soft, not quite as smooth, but with the Samyang you can actually go closer than the Sigma. So this one here, straight out of the Sigma, lovely and sharp, but you have to be very careful shooting at f1.8 because the left hand side of the leaf there is slightly soft compared to the right hand side, which is actually sharp. Same with this, very similar, but as you can see the colours are slightly different. That's just down to the sun coming in and out of the clouds as well. So like I say, there might be slightly different contrast colours and things due to the lens types and coatings. This one here, really actually quite impressed with how smooth the bokeh in the background is, and the sort of drop away of the grasses. This is on the Sigma here, absolutely amazing. And again, the colour's slightly different, but these were taken around about 5 to 10 minutes apart, so you know it may be slightly different, but as you can see, nowhere near as much depth, even though what f2, f1.8 differences. So, but still very sharp. Sigma here with the blackberry. As you can see, lovely bit of bokeh in the actual berries themselves behind it. Mega sharp, but you have to be so careful again. Just, you know, it's probably wise to stop it down slightly to f2.8 maybe to get a little bit more in focus. And again, Sigma, the Samyang, extremely sharp. Just manual focus. You just got to spend a little bit more time. This is where it was really, really good. The Sigma shooting up into the tree there with the sun coming through. The colours, the sharpness, and everything, really, really good. And that's moving. That branch is moving around a lot. Same here. I had to guess. I took a few shots here to get this one with the Samyang because the branch was moving quite a bit with the wind, but still got the shot. I'm still at f2. Right, this shot here, I was just shooting straight into the sun just to see if the autofocus would work, and it actually, with the Sigma, it straight in, no problem at all. Locked onto the those leaves there, no troubles at all. And then I stopped it down to f16 just to see what the stars and the glare and everything would be like. Pretty well controlled actually. Pretty happy with that. Still nice and sharp. The Samyang, on the other hand, didn't quite do quite as well. I mean, it's still pretty good, but as you can see, there's some flaring going on off the beams themselves, which, you know, a little bit interesting. But then you don't generally shoot like this, you know. Anyway, just a shot from the Sigma here. I was trying to see how sharp I could get a shot of a bug or something like that. It's not macro at all, but it allowed me to still get this shot here, which I was quite impressed with. All of these shots are not edited, they're literally just straight out of the camera as is. Another Sigma shot here, just straight on focus on that fence post there, and you can see the bokeh through the trees in the distance, and how shallow the depth is, just as an image. Well, the difference here was, this was the Sigma, it's sort of minimum focus points compared to the Samyang, which seemed to go quite a bit closer. So it has a slight benefit here. It means you can get a little bit closer, but I'm guessing it's probably because it's got less moving parts, so that seems to work quite well. But both extremely sharp again, so absolutely really good. But as you can see, very shallow depth. And this shot here, I thought, right, can I get the plane? And it actually, this is still shot f2. You can see the bokeh of the leaves and the trees, but actually really cool, but still mega sharp on the plane there. And that's using the C1 button. Just to magnify my focus, and I can sort of tweak the focusing manually. This shot here of the plane, the f1.8, you know, from miles up in the sky. So really impressed with that. And just before I headed home, a couple of horsey shots here, and as you can see with the Sigma, very sharp, very shallow depth of field, worked really nicely, straight out of the camera. And then with the Samyang, very similar, not quite as shallow depth of field I noticed, but still bang on sharp, really good. And I thought, while I was here, I'll just do a quick couple of eye shots to see what the reflection was like in the middle. So as you can see there, mega sharp, f1.8, and you know, it works really quite well. As you can see, zooming straight in, you can see me taking the picture and the fields in the background. And then the same. Slightly different exposure, but being f2, obviously slightly darker. But that's that, guys. So that's really impressed with both lenses, but they're both two different uses. That's it, guys. Hopefully that's kind of helped anybody who's thinking about the Samyang or the Sigma 135 f1.8. So the 135 f1.8 Sigma was around about £1,200. And the Samyang is anywhere between sort of 280 and 380, depending on where you buy it from. Both fabulous lenses, both completely different in the way you use them. Build quality, the Samyang isn't weather sealed, so you can't use it in heavy rain or anything like that, where the Sigma is. Obviously autofocus and everything like that. Samyang's benefits are that you can actually focus a little bit closer, so your f2 depth would actually obviously drop down probably just as good as the Sigmas there at f1.8. so because you can get slightly closer, the depth will become even more shallower. Other than that, both fantastic lenses. Like I say, price comparison is obviously completely pointless, but it just shows you, for a really cheap, so say cheap, but a good budget of say £300 or thereabouts, £300 to £400, you can get something that's very good, but you just have to make use of manual focus. But it's good. It has definitely helped me bring back some memories of when I shot film when I first started with manual only lenses, and you know, it's quite refreshing sometimes just to go out with that. But it's time for that to go. And obviously I've got this the Sigma 135 f1.8, so very happy with that. like I say, I don't think the 105 f1.4 for me is my sort of lens, and that's the reason I've cancelled my pre-order. I've gone for the 135 instead. And yeah, so anyway, I shall see you soon, guys. Please subscribe, please click the notification bell as well, so you get the next video popping up. And any comments or questions I'll happily answer if I can, so just leave a comment below, and I'll speak to you soon.